The moving truck was finally empty. Boxes were piled high in every room of the small, beige house. Mark Reyes wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at his 8-year-old son, Leo. "Welcome home, buddy," he said, his voice soft but tired. Leo didn't answer. He was sitting on the bare living room floor, rocking back and forth slowly. His hands were pressed over his ears. The noises of the move, the scraping of boxes, the slamming of doors, the unfamiliar echoes of the empty house were too much for him. Leo was autistic, and the world was often an overwhelming puzzle of sounds and sights. Words were difficult for him, so his body spoke instead. Right now, it was screaming that he was scared. Mark's heart ached. He had moved them here to the quiet suburb of Pine Grove for a fresh start. He was a construction foreman, and he worked long, hard hours to provide for them. All he wanted was a peaceful place where Leo could feel safe. The next few days were hard. Leo didn't want to explore the new house. He stayed in the corner of his new room, looking lost and confused. Mark tried everything to comfort him, but nothing worked. He felt a panic rising in his chest. What if this was a mistake? Then an idea came to him. He remembered how Leo always calmed down at the park on the swings, and how he loved to sort his collection of smooth, colorful stones at their old apartment. He looked out at their big, empty backyard. It was just plain grass, but it had potential. "That's it, Leo," he said, a new energy filling him. "Daddy's going to build you your own special place right here." Mark spent his entire weekend working. He wasn't just building a play set. He was building a sanctuary. He used his skills to construct a strong, safe swing set. But instead of a normal swing, he specially ordered a cocoon swing, a soft, cloth nest that would wrap around Leo and make him feel safe and hidden. Next to it, he created a small, beautiful rock garden. He brought home bags of smooth, polished stones in every color: deep blues, bright greens, fiery reds. Leo could touch them, arrange them, line them up. It was a quiet, calming activity that helped him focus when the world got too loud. Finally, it was finished. Mark gently led a hesitant Leo into the backyard. "Look, son, this is all for you." He helped Leo into the cocoon swing and gave him a gentle push. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, Leo began to rock himself. The tight, worried look on his face began to soften. Then, a miracle happened. A small, quiet smile appeared on Leo's lips. It was the first smile Mark had seen in weeks. A wave of relief so powerful it brought tears to Mark's eyes washed over him. He had done it. He had kept his promise. Leo finally had a place where he could just be. The peace lasted for a perfect week. Then, one evening, there was a knock at the door. Standing there was an older man with perfectly combed gray hair and a polite smile. He wore a crisp polo shirt and held a binder. "Good evening. You must be the new family. I'm Robert Henderson, president of the Pine Grove HOA. Just wanted to personally welcome you to the neighborhood." Mark, feeling friendly, shook his hand. "Mark Reyes. And this is my son, Leo." He gestured to where Leo was sitting on the floor, lining up his shoes. Mr. Henderson's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "Lovely. I couldn't help but notice the new addition to your backyard." "Yeah," Mark said, his fatherly pride returning. "It's for Leo. He's autistic, and it really helps him." "It's very unique," Mr. Henderson interrupted smoothly. "But I'm afraid I have to bring our community guidelines to your attention. All external structures, especially play equipment, must be pre-approved by our architecture committee. And the landscaping, well, it must adhere to the approved list of plants and materials. I'm afraid the rock garden isn't on that list." Mark's smile faded. "It's not just play equipment. It's for his therapy." Mr. Henderson sighed, a sound of fake sympathy. "I understand your situation, Mr. Reyes. I really do. But rules are rules. We can't make special exceptions for everyone. It wouldn't be fair to the other homeowners. You'll need to take it down, I'm afraid." Mark tried to forget the conversation, hoping it was just a warning. But a few days later, an official letter arrived. It looked cold and serious. It was a notice of violation. It stated that the non-compliant swing set and unapproved landscaping were in direct violation of HOA codes. He had 14 days to remove everything and return the yard to approved grass turf. If he didn't, he would be fined $100 every day until he complied. Mark's hand shook as he held the paper. $100 a day. As a single father, that was impossible. It was financial ruin. He felt a hot anger mixed with fear. How could they be so cruel? That night, after putting Leo to bed, Mark did the only thing he could think of. He pulled out the thick, boring HOA rulebook and started to read. Page after page of dull rules about fence heights and mailbox colors. Just as he was about to give up, he found it. Buried in a section about property modifications was a small, old clause. Section 4.12. Modifications deemed necessary for medical purposes may be permitted upon review and approval by the board. Documentation from a licensed medical professional is required. A medical necessity. This was his chance. He immediately called Leo's therapist, Dr. Evans. She was furious when she heard the story. That swing set is a critical sensory tool for Leo, not a toy, she said. She wrote a powerful, detailed letter explaining how the swing and the rocks were essential for Leo's emotional regulation and development. Mark submitted the letter to the HOA board, full of hope. He had played by their rules. He had the proof. A week later, the HOA's response came. Another cold, formal letter. The board has reviewed your request for a variance. The documentation provided is deemed insufficient to prove medical necessity. The violation stands. Fines will begin accruing immediately. Mark read the words over and over. Insufficient. They had dismissed a doctor's professional opinion. The betrayal was a physical pain in his chest. He sat at his kitchen table, head in his hands, as the first fine notification arrived via text message. He felt completely defeated. Later that day, he was playing with Leo in the tree house he had built. From this higher view, he could see over the fence into the neighboring yards. His gaze landed on Mr. Henderson's property. It was perfectly manicured, just as you'd expect. But then his eye caught something behind a tall, thick row of evergreen bushes. It was a shed, but not a normal, small shed. This was huge. It was almost the size of a small garage. It had fancy double doors, windows, and even what looked like an air conditioning unit on the side. It was a beautiful, professionally built workshop, and it was absolutely 100% against the HOA rules. It was a non-approved external structure, the very same rule that was bankrupting Mark. A fire of righteous anger burned away his sadness. This wasn't about rules. This was about hypocrisy. Mr. Henderson was a bully who thought the rules were for everyone but himself. Mark didn't want to start a war. He just wanted justice for his son. The next day, he printed a clear photo of the shed and walked to Mr. Henderson's house. When Henderson answered, his fake friendly smile was gone. Mr. Reyes, I believe the matter is closed. It doesn't have to be, Mark said, his voice calm but firm. He held up the photograph. I just have one question. Why are your rules for us, but not for you? Mr. Henderson's face went pale, then turned a deep, embarrassed red. He was speechless. He stared at the photo of his own secret shed. You will drop all the fines against me, Mark said, not asking but telling. My son's swing set stays, and you will make sure the board approves it. Or I will make sure every single person in Pine Grove gets a copy of this photo. Caught and defeated, Mr. Henderson could only nod, his mouth a thin, angry line. Fine, he muttered. The fines disappeared. Leo's sanctuary was safe. But the story wasn't over. Word of Mr. Henderson's hypocrisy spread quietly through the neighborhood. At the next HOA meeting, he was voted out as president. The new board, led by calmer heads, created new, fair rules for medical needs and accessibility. They learned that a community shouldn't be about perfect lawns, but about the people who live there. That evening, Mark pushed Leo on his swing. The setting sun made the colorful stones in the garden glow. Leo was smiling, his body relaxed and happy. Mark looked at his son's peaceful face and knew he had done more than just build a swing set. He had fought for his happiness. He had stood up to a bully, and he had helped build a better, kinder community. They were finally home,